Hello and welcome to Primecraft, guys. I hope you're alright. Yeah, I hope you're alright. This is the second to last episode ever of Primecraft Season 1. So there you go, this is the second to last episode of Primecraft Season 1. And as such, we need to fiddle around a little bit around our base, mend the last couple of things that aren't fixed yet, and at the same time have sort of a base tour of sorts. This is the stables. It's one of the first things I built. But this here is actually the first thing we built. The starter home. I have a tutorial on that somewhere on my channel. If you are interested. Oh, monsters, eh? Oh, well, never mind. We can live. And then we built this storage house. Now, the thing with this area here is this is all it was meant to be to begin with. It was meant to be a food storage, a storage for items, an elytra launching platform, obviously a house, and a stables. And then around back here, we had this little bridge and the Viking ship leading to the fishing hut. And then I planned to strike out and sort of build another base. But yeah, that never happened because I got so inspired here by this Viking medieval type theme that we got going. What I like about these houses is that they all have attics. And up here, apparently, I'll put some swords. What's this? Smite sword. Yeah, that would have been nice if I ever went wither skull hunting. But I haven't done any of that on this server. I haven't done any of that. I haven't done any iron farming. I've hardly done any mining, really. I've sold mending books, thus gathering diamonds. And then I've bought stuff for the diamonds. And that's turned out really well, actually. So this is the starter area, anyway. It's all fixed, it's all done up, so we don't need to do anything there. The Viking boat I really like. Now I needed a bridge to get over to my mine and to my fishing house. And I thought, well, the bridge is boring. So I sat and thought about it for a while. And the Viking ships were very flat-bottomed. I don't know if that's the technical term, of course. So they could go up rivers, and I thought, well, you know what, maybe there's a small Viking boat here in for a trade with a farming village or something like that, and we can use that as a bridge. And it took me ages to figure out the proper shape of it, but I think I did it. It's one of the builds I'm happiest with on in my base here. So leading through here, we've got the disorganized mines. Down here is where I've actually done the mining I've done. And then we come to this fishing hut. And it's not working anymore, of course. Also, there's a creeper. I saw it. I really wish I could have stepped then before. Let's see here. Hello. You're trying to ruin my base, are you? Well, no more, I say. Yep, so this is the fishing hut from the outside, by the way. Follows the same style, but it's on pillars, which is very nice. Yeah, I very early came up with this block palette with the spruce and the cobblestone, and I think I've used that throughout the entire base. It's one of the things I really like about this base, that I managed to keep the style going, so to speak. And when I started expanding this, the idea was to have one house, one function. So this is our cow farm. The actual cow farming takes place in the house here, where we have two breeders. I have a tutorial on these as well, by the way. But out here we have sort of the eye candy, which is just basically a place for the cows to free range. It's looking really good. It's one of those builds where I've gone from the concept of the roof a little bit, but for a good reason, and it looks great because of the contrast, I feel. So, moving on, folks, moving on. I very recently installed these beacons. They haven't been part of the base at all to begin with. My idea was that you were walking around here slowly beholding the terraformed nature. This here is a building that actually I've extended once. There's always creepers around my base, and there's always other mobs as well. It's not very mob safe. So this is our pumpkin and melon farm. It's a design by El Mango. And if I'm not mistaken, it's probably full now. Yeah. So it's ferociously affected, this thing is. And you know what? I should have sorted out a better way to handle the produce, so that it could run for longer. But this was the source of my... Oh, there's a door missing there. This was the source of my income. The basis of my wealth here on the server. I sold these to villagers, and I bought mending books. And speaking of mending books, there's these trails, by the way, going all over. So we can go around here, around the wheat field, which looks really good, and it really makes the other buildings around it pop, I feel. We can go around to this little tiny hut and find our mending villager. Mending for 36. It's very dear, to be honest, but, you know, I got a lot of emeralds, so it's no problem. So, if we move over here, this is one of the builds that sort of have defined the base. This is the Viking Temple, or the Temple of Odin, or something like that. And I thought that I was going to build something like that, and this is where I started finding that longhouse style. So this is a longhouse that has basically another house tucked on its middle to sort of go out like that, and you can walk all the way around this thing. It's got a nice little walkway here. And we have this open window. I wanted to point out, really, that the Vikings had very close connection to nature. And so this would have been a feast hall and a place of worship at the same time. And I thought, you know, the function of this house is the enchanting function. But from here you have a great view of the place. And I like especially how when you come in, it's quite narrow, but then you go down and you see the glory of the house. We have preparation for feast halls as well, and for some reason this is also my dog pen. Here we got Rat and 2 unnamed dogs. I don't know, I thought I had another one as well. Cat. I wonder what happened to that one. Oh, that's right. Paddy killed it. Anyway, guys, we should probably move on to this building. Now, this is the Viking Chieftains Hall, or Viking King's Halls. This is my main base nowadays. I started out over there, but fairly swiftly I decided that it was too small, so I moved over to here. And this is also where I built this when the shulker boxes came out. So this is where I set up my shulker storage. We're going to go inside in a minute and have a look. But this is a very impressive building, you know, it's very big. It's inspired, of course, by the Rohirrim Hall of Edoras. But I really like these pillars. They really pop for me and make the whole. They make the whole building. Also, I like the patterns we got going with the dark prismarine hidden behind, and the pattern comes again here on the pillars where we have glowstone behind it. And yeah, this is quite an impressive building, I have to say. And it's worked all right as a base. We have a throne here as well. And this is my storage. I had many more plans for this building. So we have these 2 rooms here, for instance. This is completely unused. And I can't get out. And this one is just a map room at the moment. And it's not even updated. So I'm going to do that before the end of the episode, and we'll have a look at the map as it stands. So yeah, that's that. Now we can go upstairs as well, and I have plans to make this into sleeping chambers and such like, but all that ended up happening with that is that I have a bed. So, but what I do like about this building is the flow of it. So you can go up and you can go down, and there's, you know, many doors leading to the same rooms here. We can go here and so on. That's one of the things I like. Next up, actually, we're going to leave the base slightly. I built this road. I built this road because I wanted to connect mine and Mr. Trent's base. And little did I realize that just as I did that, he moved out to his new base. But anyway, I really like the idea of this. See, we have sort of the pillars from my hall coming again here in a smaller shape form. And then we have the brown clay to tie in with his base palette. And I think that turned out really well. So now we're right in the middle of his old base. And that is something I want to do a lot more in Season 2. You know, get involved with other people's bases. And you know, I'm not going to say I'm going to put my nose where it doesn't belong. But, you know, tying things together, doing landscaping around other people's bases so that they fit into the base area and so on. Because one of the things we're going to do in Season 2 is we're going to have a much smaller area for people to have their bases in. So we're going to all be neighbors, and I'm really looking forward to that, actually. So we're going to go, I think, over here next. Now, these buildings here, they're all part of the same idea, and that is the rabbit stew idea. And this is the rabbit stew factory. And if we go in here, I'll show you. This is where all the products come from: the potatoes, carrots, mushroom, and rabbit farms. And then I just craft up my rabbit stew here, and I have a rabbit stew shop in Spawn as well. So to accomplish that, underneath here are water streams. This is the carrot and potato house, and actually it's still not fixed. So I have to manually go here and harvest when I want to make rabbit stew. And this is just unfinished. The idea was actually to have them be automatic farms, but you know, I'm a dummy, so I made it incorrectly, and yeah. There we go. That's the carrot floor, and this is the attic. So we have the carrot floor, the potato floor, and it gets collected here and sent down to the water streams down there. But actually this inside is kind of unfinished, and I kind of lost heart when I failed at making it. However, for next season I'm gonna make another type of carrot and potato farm, which will work, I promise. This is a little rabbit farm, and yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but if you're interested in how it works, there is a tutorial on my channel about that as well. So here, the rabbit meat gets chucked out into the water and sent off to the factory. So that's that. We're gonna next look at the mushrooms and some other pathways that we have in the base here. So the mushroom farm is over here. It's a typical longhouse, although it's fairly big. And sometimes there are mobs in it. This is a mangoes farm. And somehow it's stopped. There we go. Yeah, that's the rail carts for you. Sometimes when you unload chunks, you're in trouble. Yeah, anyway, so this is a mangoes design. It's a cool, very, very good rabbit farm. Sorry, mushroom farm. And when you come out of this longhouse, around the back, you can come over to the little tree farm. The idea of this tree farm is that you have a 2x2 tree down there. You jump down, chop it down from above, and then you replant, and then you end a pearl up here. So you go around in circles like that, and it's fairly efficient, to be honest. I think I get 2.5 stacks per harvest, or on average. This is our chorus flower farm. And this is actually the start of me striking out into my second base. I built this just before we decided to reset, and so nothing more has come of it. But I like the design. It's just basically a tunnel, and in the middle here I plan to have storage. But since we decided to reset, I decided not to go any further with it. So that's this area of the base. Now, there are roads in this base. So this one, for instance, leads back to our Viking ship and to our wheat field. The the idea here with these beacons, they lead to my new base area, and they're just basically elytra markers, but I actually took the time and made a path all the way to the new base area as well, and then I never used it. So there you go. That's how it goes. There are many other paths in this base as well, and this is one of the lesser traveled ones. It's going from spawn into the woods, and here we have our Velva, or our wise woman's house. And inside here, just last episode actually, we built this potion brewery, and that's something I want to investigate a lot more in the future. I did brew up some basic potions after the episode, so we have a bit of a stock, but next season I'm gonna focus a lot on potions actually, guys. And this path actually doesn't even have a bridge over the river, and that is something I've not really shown. I've actually connected all these water bodies with rivers, and even that one even runs out into the bigger lake there. Well, it's not really a lake as such, it's a small lake, and I really like that. So coming up on this area here, we have the Carpenter Shop, also quite a recent build, and you can see that I didn't really manage to stay in theme here, but I had a good reason. The carpenter obviously will use more wood in his build than other people, so I think it's fine. And this is his workshop, and the function of this building is to have wood storage. And out here we have this giant log being cut up by a giant saw, and you know, I planned to begin with maybe make it a little bit smaller, but you know, I think it looks good as it is. Next to it is the blacksmith. The blacksmith he was meant to have our iron and gold storage over here, and ore storage and coal, and then there in here we have 2 smelters, which I also have tutorials for, incidentally, on my channel, so check them out. They're very nice working, and yeah, fairly unique design. But what I like about this house is the roof, the messy roof, and that's something I've started experimenting with more lately. Now we have the hanging bridges here. I meant for this church to be built forever, and I only got around to it recently, but underneath it I meant to have catacombs, and these bridges were supposed to go into the catacombs, and that was in turn supposed to lead to my portal. So that was the idea. It's not going to be realized now, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to just tell you about it, and we'll leave it at that. This is a Stave church, and it's not quite finished, and I'm not going to finish it. But the inside is fairly impressive. It would have been a lot more impressive if I had finished it. But you know, it was a nice experiment to build in this particular style. And I think from close up it doesn't look too great, but from far away, which is where we normally see it, it looks awesome. That's what I think about that build. And it's very wood heavy, but Stave churches were. Going across the second hanging bridge, we come to another one of the more recent builds, which is this Berserker's Arena, right? And if you go in here, this is a little battle arena where you can fight, and if you go up this way instead, you come up to the viewing platforms, or the viewing area. And oh man, I had so many plans for this building, right? I appreciate that we built an arena in the Games District, but this was supposed to be like a little practice arena. You were supposed to enter here, and I have a zombie spawner right underneath my starting house. I plan to lead zombies that could hold armor or weapons to this point, not have this door here, and let the player who so wanted fight it out against the zombies. And it's a shame actually that we didn't get around to that. But what I like about this build, though, is the intimate feeling that it gives you when you're down here. It almost feels like the Globe, you know, Shakespeare's theatre. And as far as the Berserkers goes, they were meant to have their living quarters around here, and on that side of that wall as well. So, but we're not going to decorate them now. Okay, I forgot one building only, and it's this one here, our Stonemasons Building. And it's one of the later ones as well. Again, I deviated from the theme fairly heavily, but because it's a stonemason, I figured he would want to build his house out of, yeah, different stone. And it's not quite finished. There's no interior at all to this house. And that is sadly the way it's gonna have to stay. So that's this building. I really like the sort of decorations here with the red nether brick and the dark prismarine. I think it does really well. It looks really dwarven actually. So we might come back to that at some point. So the last thing I want to do in this episode, guys, is just basically, I've updated the map and I just want to basically show you the base. So this is it, guys. You can see where we're at. That's the Viking Chief's Hall. To the left of it is the stonemasons, and to the right of it is the blacksmith, the carpenter, and the wise woman's house. In front of it is the church up to the left. The Berserker's Hall is the round thing, and then we have all the rabbit stew buildings and the Temple of Odin on the upper right. And then further to the right we have the older buildings, so the original base. You can see the Viking ship, and also up there you can see my that I actually built the Viking ship on land before I transferred it to water. And that's a good tip if you want to build boats. It's hard to build underwater, but it's easier to build them on land first. So guys, Primecraft Season 1 is coming to an end. And I have had awesome fun over here. And I am super chuffed about Season 2. You just wait, guys. It's gonna be something fairly unique and awesome, I have a feeling. But yeah, if you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me tell you, or tell me, let me hear, is what I'm trying to say, what you thought was the best thing about Season 1 and what you're looking forward to in Season 2. And next time I'm hoping we're gonna have a big old farewell party with all the rest of the primers. So until then, guys, bye bye.